Hello everyone, Krista here. It's been a while since I've made a video, and there's been a lot that's happened in the garden. And today I thought that I would talk about meditation in the garden and elements. How do we use elements as allies? And finish with bringing ritual back into our gardening practice. And so, yeah. To start with meditation, I think I have this spot here, and meditation in the garden, to meditate, to focus the mind in some way, to concentrate it in a certain direction, and to be able to return to that thing. The thoughts spin out and go in all these different directions, and to just have something to bring it back to your concentration or your attention is a really good practice, and we can call that meditation. And I think the garden's a really good place for that because it's fascinating. Watching something come out of the earth is fascinating, and staring at peas and staring at flowers and staring at their colors and can really be a great practice for our concentration in our mind. And so I created a space where I can easily sit down and have my coffee or tea and really just sit and just watch the garden, and in an urban setting, allowing all of the ambient noise to be a part of that experience. So just trying to take a couple of minutes before we start to garden to really just sit and appreciate it and admire it and help to calm the mind down from its usual thought patterns and scatter. And so currently on the astrological gardening aspect, we are in a second quarter moon. So the moon is growing. From the first half of the moon phases, we have this light that's coming in and this upward pull with the gravity. And so in general, above the ground crops are really good to work with in the first half of the moon. The first quarter, especially for what we harvest above the ground, like lettuces, arugula, spinach, leaves, things like that. And the second quarter for fruits, things that we harvest that are fruiting. So right now how that's relevant is starting our tomato starts and peppers and eggplants and things like that. We're currently in Libra, which is an air sign, and we'll be going into a water sign tomorrow. And we also have an increased heat here in Boise, Idaho. And so I just kind of wanted to touch up on how we can look at all of those essences and work with it in the garden. And so for me, the heat is really important. That's coming this weekend. And we can utilize the sun and the heat to help get rid of weeds. So it's a great time to weed this right before that heat, because those little micro roots that are exposed to the surface are going to be burnt. It might be a good time for thinning, especially in the air sign and this heat that's coming. So it'd be a great time to thin maybe the first succession of beets and turnips and radishes, which is what I'll be doing today. And also we can utilize the heat for quick germination. So my first succession of peas and turnips took 5, maybe 7 days to pop up, and the ones I planted in the first quarter Taurus moon right before bouts of heat germinated in 3 days. And so using these elements in our gardens to help get the weeds, to help sprouting, and also to just be aware of the elements, that in itself is going to bring us into connection of our environment and into the earth. And I think we really should be asking questions like, what is fire? What is fire, right? Or what is air? Why does air mean this? And so another good meditation practice that can bring us in connection to the earth is to experience air. When you're experiencing wind, check in, how am I feeling? Or how do I feel when the wind blows? Or how do I feel in a place that it seems, no wind, like air isn't moving at all? What's that like? What's it like when I notice that? What's air's effect on wet soil, right? It wicks moisture away. And so now we're starting to see how air and water even relate to each other. And so that could be a really fun practice that I'll continue to bring up the whole time. And so last ending on how to bring ritual back into the garden space. I think that's a practice that I haven't been doing this whole time, and when I started, it is really, really special. So that's where I'll end today, and I'll show you what I do. First, this is a lilac. See? Hello. And my spot that I sit is in between this lilac tree and I don't know what that tree is, and it's really shady. It's going to be shady, so it's perfect. And so what I do is I incorporate fire in my ritual, and I have this candle, and I usually will sit, with myself and really imagine all the things that I'm hoping this garden will serve to feed people and to be a place where people are fascinated, and I see kids, running around and laughter, and I see my friends being full, and I just imagine that, and I really feel like how happy that makes me, and how I really want this garden space to be symbiotic and healthy in all directions. And when I feel really strong in that thought, I light my candle as an external representation of my own light that's expanding and activating those seeds. And so it's just good to have a physical reminder of the light or the dream or the vision. As you garden all day, I look over, I'll burn this for hours, and I'll look over and it's still burning. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It's bigger than me. And it's connected to a lot of other things, right? The garden space. And so it's nice to have that external reminder. If you don't have a candle, that's okay, because you hold that intention within yourself. Or maybe you find a different external reminder of that. And I also have some tobacco. Here I have a singing bowl that I use. Inside of it, for right now, I used to have water in it. Now I have tobacco in it. And I think definitely tobacco is like an offering to the earth. Tobacco has an interesting relationship with smoke and prayers, and is often taught that to offer it to plants, especially when we harvest. And today I'm going to be thinning, and I'm just grateful to have this space, and I've taken a lot from it and I'm manipulating it quite a bit, and so I'm going to spread some tobacco as just a sense of offering and recognition of that taking and giving that's going on. And then that's basically all that I do. And when my seeds are planted or when I'm finished, I play my bowl. Let's see here, you can see my bowl. I play in all four directions, right before I garden, and then I repeat that. Oops, sorry guys. In the beginning and in the end. And I especially love playing the bowl, when I've planted seeds, I'll go and I'll play the bowl over the beds that I've just planted. And if I haven't, then I just really use it to, the space has begun, we are doing it, and the intention is being held, and I'm connecting, and then when I ding it afterwards, I'm like, the container is still there, and it's being held, and I'm exiting out of that container for now, and that it's held still. So yeah, it's kind of a long video, you guys, but I appreciate you hanging in there, and I hope that you enjoy the growing moon, and that maybe you find yourself just looking around more and connecting with your environment, and consider ritual in these spaces while also exploring the elements, and in an experiential way through direct perception, and really coming to your own theories. And if you have any or experiences, please share them. I'd love to hear those things. So I'll see you in a while, and happy gardening.